I'm Ella, also known as Lorde, and I will be chatting to Tony tonight on 7 Sharp, so tune in.
Lord, it's so lovely to have you back in New Zealand. Tell me what it's like when you've been in this crazy world overseas and you touch down in your homeland.
Oh man, I mean, I feel like it never gets old. You know, I've been gone for 4 months, and that's like a long time for me to be gone. But, you know, I get home and I'm just like, oh, this is the only place I want to live. You know, it still means so much to me to live here. It's still, you know, it's my favorite place in the world.
And home is genuinely home for you here now. You've basically set up a little place.
Yeah, I bought a house. Yeah, and it's been so nice kind of being a part of a little community and walking around. You know, I've got some like pen pals down the street, and they'll put notes in my letterbox and I'll write them back. So it's a nice little nice energy, and I feel like not the kind of thing you would get if you lived in LA or New York. You know, it's such a specific vibe here.
How on earth do you have time to write to a pen pal back here in New Zealand?
Well, I feel bad. I only catch her every like couple months, but I try and walk down the road and just put it in her mailbox. She's very cute.
Oh, that's cool. That would mean the world, I'm sure. For you, you've got such a busy time at the moment. I mean, we've just seen you on the international stage at Coachella. You've just been to a jazz festival, and you've got your second album about to come out. How do you back that up after such a stellar performance with album 1?
I mean, you know, I did take my time. It took me 3 years to make another record, and that was very much because I didn't want to just rest on, you know, the incredible success of that last album that was so unexpected for all of us and so amazing, and it definitely wasn't something that I wanted to take for granted. You know, I really think that when people invest in you as an artist, you have to give them the best work you can, you know, because I think about when I was 14 and, you know, the artists that I was obsessed with and the people who would continue to kind of put out the most amazing work. You know, I really felt like they were giving me this wonderful kind of gift. You know, you're at high school and your life's boring, and you come home and, you know, and new albums come out and it's just the best thing ever, and it takes you to another place. So I really wanted to do that with this record. But yeah, I guess I'm so proud of it, and I'm so excited for people to hear it that I'm not feeling too much stress about it. But maybe that'll come. Maybe June 15th I'll be like freaking out.
That's what I like about you. You own your style. You own the path you're on.
Right.
How are you in that headspace? Because you started doing this so young, and you're in a world that can be brutal at times. And every step you take is analysed.
Totally.
Where does that inner confidence come from?
I don't know. I guess I've always been a pretty, like, dance to the beat of my own drum type. But I just, you know, I was always that kid in the neighborhood who would wear these crazy outfits, and my friends, you know, people who I'm friends with now have said to me, oh, when we were young, I knew you as that girl who was always walking around listening to music and like dancing to it, like walking down the street. Like that really is who I have been since I was a kid. So for me, I just, you know, I just try to be as true to myself as I can, because I know that I'm quite strange in a lot of ways, and I, you know, was never going to work for me to fit into what it was other people were doing. So I just try and do whatever it is that feels like me, and do it with as much integrity as I can, and it usually feels pretty good. It doesn't. It means that the stresses don't kind of stick to me too much. But I have no idea where that came from.
Is there ever a biting comment? Because I get this in being on television as well. There's the odd comment where, as much as I feel fine,
totally,
it'll sting. Do you have that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I think when I was younger, it was definitely harder. You know, when you hear, you know, people kind of pulling apart your appearance or whatever. But I guess I know now, like, and we talked about this. There are things that I'm really good at. I have my strengths, and then I have the things that, like, maybe I wasn't born to do. You know, I'm not a model. My face does really weird things when it moves, but you know, it's all kind of part of it, I think. So I think because I know who I am and what I am good at, and what I maybe am not good at, it doesn't I try not to let it get to be too much, but they can be gnarly, eh? Those it's a little Instagram comment, a little tweet, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I guess that means you're doing well because they're commenting. If they're commenting, it means that they're listening to you at least.
I guess so.
In terms of I've already heard, like, just in the last 5 minutes, you called yourself strange, you called yourself witchy, and I heard you call yourself a herb, and you were talking about the dancing on the car. Talk me through that. How did that work? That whole scene.
The dancing on the car was all the stuff with the car in the Green Light music video was some of the craziest stuff I've ever done. I had never full out danced on the top of a car while a camera is moving 360 around me before. It was just not something I'd ever done. And it's actually don't try this at home, but it's quite hard to dance on top of a car. The metal was very bendy. It was the middle of the night, so there was all this dew on the car. It was actually kind of a mission, but the hanging out of the car was the most incredible fun thing I've ever done. Honestly, it was like a fairground ride. I was like, this is Rainbow's End. I'm down. It was amazing. Honestly, just that being in this moving car with a light on me from behind and a camera on me in front, and literally just my whole body kind of bent out of the car. It was this amazing feeling.
You looked very comfortable.
I was very chill. Everyone around me, my director was literally holding my ankle in the car. He was lying down in the car, just holding my ankle, worried I was going to fall out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And what did you do with the car afterwards? Did the roof have a whole lot of scratches?
I think it was okay. I hope I didn't scratch it. I think the car just went back to its day job. Yeah, I don't know what the car, I don't know what it's up to.
Talk to me about the best part of what you're doing right now. I guess we've already talked about the worst part, the inevitable trolls, sticking to who you are. What's the best part of your life?
I mean, I feel like every day I have something awesome that I get to do. That cool thing about a job like this is it isn't one thing 7 days a week. One day I'm talking about the work, in situations like this, and then I'm going to a meeting to plan a TV performance, and then I'm, I'm approving production on my, computer or whatever. So it's it really is so kind of multidisciplinary, which I love and really keeps me very kind of challenged and focused. But for me right now, the thing that I've really been having fun with is doing stuff building the Coachella show. We built the show that really was started as a couple of notes written down on my computer, these ideas that I would have in the middle of the night, and it grew and grew, and to see it, to be able to watch the Coachella set back and go, that's what it was I was trying to do. That's what I built with all of those disciplines, with the lights, with the visuals, with the set, with the dance, with the costumes. I find that so fun and so rewarding to see. That's where all of my little brain cogs, that's what they've gone into, it's building something really tangible that that people can experience and enjoy.
Is it exhausting? Because
it's so exhausting.
Not everyone is across every last detail like you are. A lot of the the pop artists we see now, they do the end part, not what you do from the beginning. It must take its toll.
I mean, I wish I could just not care about half the stuff that I care about, but it really does for me make me feel like it's my show. It doesn't feel like anybody picked up the slack for me or did any of the heavy lifting. Every single thing on that stage I've had my eye over, whether it's what that dancer in the back is wearing or what the lights do in between songs. It's all me, and it feels amazing seeing that. It's such an amazing feeling.
How much do you think
it's very tiring.
How much do you think you have changed from the girl that grew up on the North Shore? It sounds like your friends describe you back then as exactly who you still are. Do you feel like that, or do you feel like being in this world has changed you at all?
I mean, I think that it does. It does change you. I think anyone who said it didn't change them would probably be lying. It's for me, I'm such an introvert by nature. I'm I have a few people that I'm close to, but my universe has typically been very small, and so to then be like, I'm going to be a pop star and have a lot of strangers engaged with me all the time, it's definitely been an awesome thing for me to learn to, you know, step out of my comfort zone and to be able to interact with people. And I think that, like, when I did start off, you know, a lot of people that I meet are like, oh yeah, I met you and you were like real shy and you didn't smile and you seemed like you hated being here. And it's like, yeah, I kind of did, you know, it was real scary for me. But
You're the opposite of that right now.
well, yeah, I think that it was like, I think it's a good kind of forced learning curve, having to get out of your comfort zone and meet a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know, I have a great family and great friends, and I really try and put people around me who you know, see me for me and appreciate Ella, you know, and like things about me that maybe aren't the things that a lot of people like about me. So I think that helps to kind of keep you feeling pretty level. I definitely don't. I feel very feel as normal, I think, as you can feel having gone through something like this.
Yeah. Talk to me about the friendship side of things, because on one hand, you've just been talking to me about the fact that you've been Snapchatting your brother, you went to your sister's graduation yesterday, and I'm sure you've got friends from back here in New Zealand, but then we see you also hanging out with Taylor Swift, who we all know. Is that quite a strange thing to have friends that I guess are operating in that world, and then you come back home and it's just a long New Zealand still?
I think it is and it isn't. I think that everyone I have met through work, you know, I see common threads in all of my friendships. You know, there are these people who are so driven and so passionate and so funny and so, you know, spontaneous. I really see a lot of commonalities between, like, you know, my friends who are unemployed surfers and my friends who are like some of the biggest musicians in the world. You know, I really like to think that I could get all of those people in a room and they would probably all find something to talk about, you know.
What do you do to escape the world that you're in when it does get too much? What's your go-to relaxation?
I like to get in bed and watch a show called The Great British Bake Off, which I really love. It's a very competitive baking show, but it's very calm also, and so I like after like a really intense day of kind of, you know, figuring out all this stuff, I like to like see who's like, you know, made the best like short crust pastry or whatever.
As you do.
As you do. I mean, when I'm here, I like to go to the beach as much as I can. I really love that, and it's definitely, you know, my relationship with the outdoors here is something that you kind of can't replicate in other parts of the world, you know, especially the places where I go for work. So, you know, I love that. But just getting out, going for a walk, getting my headphones in, wherever I am, you know, I find that as a good, like, it's going to be all good, don't worry about it, you know, I find that helpful.
How do you find New Zealand responds to you? Because we know how many people are so proud of you to have someone as young as you were just nailing it on the international stage. But then you have some, you know, famous people in New Zealand that say there's a tall poppy syndrome as well. What have you found?
It's an interesting one. I think that I can totally see both sides of it. I think that, you know, I can imagine seeing me, seeing 16-year-old me on TV, you know, this little, like, you know, I was like pretty sure of myself. I thought it was like pretty cool. You know, I can imagine, you know, it's kind of an unusual thing for a New Zealander to be so kind of, I just had such a sense of what it was I was trying to build, and I think that probably came across as like, I'm real cool. I can imagine seeing that and being like, you need to chill out. But at the same time, like, you know, New Zealanders for the most part have been so wonderful to me, you know, considering my path is not exactly one of a traditional Kiwi artist. You know, I did do a lot of things differently, but I really feel like people came to, you know, I feel like people are quite protective of me, and, you know, even things like in the community where I live, you know, a friend will be like parked outside my house waiting for me, and you know, an old lady will knock on the window and be like, "Move on, buddy. Don't hang out outside that house." Like, which is like a very nice.
Lovely.
It's lovely. It's like a nice New Zealand kind of vibe. So I really, I like it. You know, you go to a cafe here, or you're at a restaurant, and someone comes over with their kids, and it's just so kind of warm, and so there's a real Kiwi thing of like, nobody feels like a stranger. You know, people come over and they talk like they've known you their whole life, and I really love that about Kiwis, and I love that about being a well-known New Zealander. It's a nice relationship to have with a lot of people who are strangers, you know, especially if you're like me and you're like, whoa, strangers, this is full on. So yeah, I mean, I guess it is like a complex thing, but I think that I'm probably testament to the fact that you can be a really different example of like, you know, what Kiwis would see as like a cool type of person, and but still feel really celebrated and supported by that community.
You realise you're going to have a long list of people wanting to be your pen pal after this? Yeah. I hope you've got a new writing set.
Oh my, yes, we are. I need to get a stationery set. I need to get a cool, like, embossed.
I'm sure we can sort that.
Yeah.